Hey guys, happy July. I am here to show my WIP progress from my works in progress, really? My progress from the last month. It's super hot and I'm melting, so this might be a short one. So first order of business is I finished red, finally. This was what I chose for the Mirabilia style that started in January, and I have been really dragging my butt on it, but it's finally done. And I will do a separate video to show you the close-ups of all of her beads and whatnot, because there are a lot. So that is red. Just a little sneak peek of all the goodness there. This took a really long time for me. I went through phases of being very uninspired by this project, and I'm not sure why. Has a lot of beads on it, and I think maybe that's what it is. I think it ended up looking a little too busy for my taste. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with. So that is red. I did start a new Mirabilia. Haven't gotten very far on it. I've only stitched like nothing. But I chose August Peridot Fairy. And this is what I have so far. I think this is the top. Just a little black sploosh, a little black ink spot in the middle of the fabric there. And what am I stitching this on? Did I have this somewhere? Oh, Lugana, as always, ivory, 32 count. So that is what I have so far on August Peridot Fairy. And I might just be turned off by Mirabilias at the moment, because I started this being really excited to stitch on it, and now it has kind of fallen behind my other WIPs, because I guess I was just really excited about them. The other finish I have to show you are the Dinky Dye seasonal samplers. I think last month I had just a little bit of the autumn one started and then space for the winter one on the same piece of fabric, and I finished both of them. And I'll do a video on these two, on all four of them, if you're interested, just so I don't ramble on about it here for the people that aren't interested. So this is the autumn one. And the winter one. I really like the colors in this winter one. And I think I maybe mentioned, I think I must have mentioned it last month, this pattern, the autumn one and actually the winter one, both have bicones that are required, like bigger jewels. I didn't have those, and instead I just ended up using the regular beads. So like this in the middle was supposed to be a bicone. I just put a regular bead in there. And I think in the middle of the snowflakes and down here, I just used regular beads. It would have been nice to use the bigger beads, but I didn't have them. And I did think briefly about trying, when I stitched those ornaments, those Mill Hill ornament kits, they had a couple of really cool ways to like make a cluster of beads, but I couldn't figure out how to do it again. I had thrown out all the instructions for those ornaments, and the ornaments themselves are packed away with the Christmas stuff. And I looked online, I couldn't remember which one. There was one in particular, maybe I'll look back on my old video. I mean, it's too late now, but there was one in particular that had used like 5 beads, and it ended up looking like kind of a flower where the 4 were like this and the 1 was in the center. I thought it was so cool, and it was so easy to do, and that would have been a really nice substitute for like the bigger beads. But it was a failure because I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I Googled like a bunch of ridiculous things, like ornament kit, bead cluster. Yeah, no, it didn't work out. So there goes my good idea for replacing the bicones. Instead, I just used one bead. So those are the Dinky Dyes seasonal samplers. I have finished all 4. I just have the Wave Dancer one, which is not a seasonal one. I don't know if I'll do that right away or wait. These are pretty quick stitches for me. I think it's because they're only 4 inches wide. All of the designs are 4 inches wide. So whatever band you're working on is only that long. Sorry for the weird cut, I had to sneeze. So the bands are only 4 inches long. So by the time you like figure out what you're doing and get going, it's like over. So it doesn't take me that long to do them, which is nice. So I might do that Wave Dancer one this month just to kind of like have all of them done. The next WIP I worked on was my 3rd Chatelaine mini mandala. I am really liking this one. This is the one, I don't think I have a picture of it even. This is the one that looks a little different from the other ones. The other ones have a really defined square border around them. This one doesn't really have that, so I was interested to work on it. This is how far I've gotten. Once again, you can see the similarities with like the gates and the water. But after I got to this point, I didn't really know where to go. The rest of the border, it has a lot of this color in it, this darker variegated color, and it just seemed overwhelming. I don't know, I looked at the pattern and I just didn't know where to go from this point, so I just put it down. So hopefully I can get back on this one. That'll be my last mini mandala, and then I just have my big chatelaine to start. So that is the 3rd one. I started putting in, this is silly, tell me if you think this is silly. I started putting in the metallic because the other ones I waited until the very end to put the metallic in, which is I think maybe what it says to do in the pattern, like do all the regular cross stitches and then add the metallic and then add the beads, but which is fine if you're like back stitching with the metallic. But these are just crosses, and I don't know why I didn't put them in at the same time as I did all the other crosses on the other 2. But anyways, so that's been hilarious. I think I saw it actually on the Mini Mandala Sal group on Facebook. Someone was stitching one of the other ones and they already had the metallic in. And I was like, duh, why didn't I do that? Why did I make that harder for myself? So anyways, that is the 3rd mini mandala from Chatelaine. And the last WIP I have to show you was the one that I think it was the last WIP video. I was like, help me, I don't know what to start. And the choices I gave were Tempting Tangles, Peacock Pinwheels, or the Quaker Game Board by Papillon Creations, I think. I am planning to start the game board in August, hopefully, still. That is still the plan. I started the peacocks because I just love this pattern. This is my favorite WIP right now. But I have to say thank you guys so much for A, remembering what I have in my stash, and B, telling me to stitch that thing. So I do have a lot of things in mind now for what to stitch. Yeah, so this is Peacock Pinwheels. This is the pattern. And I ran into a little bit of a, not a problem, but I didn't really know what to do with this pattern. I chose to stitch it 1/1. This is the first time I've stitched anything 1/1. I didn't have to worry about the like warp and the weft and where I started. I think because I'm using an even weave and not linen, although every once in a while I'm doing each cross fully because I'm using variegated cotton, so I have to do each cross at a time. Every once in a while I know what they're talking about. It'll slip away. And I think it has to do with the hole I'm coming in on and where the warp and the weft are in the fabric, but like 1 in 20 stitches will be one where I'll see it slide over, and then I just take that thread out and go in the opposite way, like from the opposite corner. So that was my first experience with 1/1, so I kind of know what everyone's talking about now. But the reason I decided to do that, I bought a huge piece of fabric for this, an 18 by 27 piece. And then I realized that the design itself says to do over 1. So I think this is what happened. So when I bought the pattern, I looked at the stitch count, which is, I don't even know now, on here somewhere. Anyways, I looked at the stitch count and I must have calculated for 2 over 2, which is why I bought such a humongous piece of fabric. But 2 over 2, this would be 18 inches by 18 inches square, which is humongous, way bigger than what I would want to have. And also the fabric I bought was 18 by 27. So like I would be really cutting it close on that one side. So I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this, but so then I thought, okay, I wasn't really sure that I wanted to do 1 over 1, but I had kind of backed myself into a corner. So I was like, I started thinking, okay, I am doing it 1 over 1, and that cuts it down by half, which is amazing to me because I love small projects. I think part of my aversion to like finishing things or framing things is that everything is so big. Like those Mirabilias are so big that I don't want anything that big, like on my wall. I don't know if that's weird. This is only going to be 9 by 9, and I think that's awesome, and I really want to just finish it into like a little, I've been watching Tara and Carolyn's finishing videos, and I just really want to finish it into like a little thing, and I'm so excited that it's going to be 9 by 9 because that's tiny. But anyways, so then I didn't know whether to do 1 over 1 or 2 over 1. Which is the number that's the number of threads? The first one or the second one? I didn't know how many threads to use. Let's say that. And I didn't want to use 2 threads because I bought, if you remember, I bought this pattern and all the threads that are required at the same time, but the threads that I bought, it's only 1 skein of everything and 2 skeins of one color, which is obviously meant for 1 over 1. So I thought, well, if I do 2 strands, then I might not have enough cotton, which would suck. So I just bit the bullet and I was like, I'm gonna do a 1 over 1. This is gonna be the project that I do 1 over 1 as a learning experience. And I love it. Let's finally show you it. I've only talked about it for forever. So it's gonna be 9 inches by 9 inches. So tiny, right? So tiny. I love it. And these are my tiny little stitches. I mean, I think I'm just obsessed with 1 over 1 right now. So I just hit this corner on the side. I love these little peacocks with their little crowns on, these turquoise ones. I am really, really enjoying stitching on this, and I cannot believe that this is the size it's going to be when it's done. Like, I would totally frame something like this or finish something like this because it's small. I think like I said, my aversion comes from the idea that I don't want these humongous pieces taking up all this space. So I've been thinking, brainstorming, I have some full coverage patterns, PDFs, in my stash that I had kind of given up on because of my experience with Dorian and how I don't think I'm gonna go back to that one, but I haven't actually like done anything with it, like thrown it out or anything. And part of the reason is they're humongous. Like Dorian, when I used to show her, was humongous, and I would never frame that. It would be so expensive, and I would never, like, so I have these full coverage patterns, and I had kind of felt like I didn't want to do them anymore just because of the time it takes, and now that I'd gotten into kind of these specialty stitches, and I just felt like I'd kind of outgrown them. But now, thinking that I could maybe do them 1 over 1 with like a tent stitch or something, it's kind of reopened that door for me because I have the one Wizard of Oz book cover that I would really still like to do because I really like it. So yeah, thinking this option, having them be like smaller by half and maybe taking less time, is making me think that I might go back to those patterns at some point. Probably not Dorian though, because what? I'm gonna start it over again? Ugh. Those are all my WIPs. That's almost everything I have to talk about. There's just one more thing. If you watched my 100th YouTube video, which was kind of cheating because it was not my 100th stitching video by far, but it was my 100th video in total. I did a little embroidery piece in preparation for the embroidery that I want to do for my friend for her wedding at the end of July. And I wasn't entirely happy with the transfer method that I picked. It was just something that was right in front of me that yeah, probably not going to do that again. And I thought at first that I didn't like the idea of washing my projects because, fun fact, I have never washed anything that I've finished. And Carolyn, when you posted that picture on Facebook of that humongous dragon piece in the bathtub, I like had a heart attack. That freaks me out so much. But now I've realized that I'm not so much adverse to washing it. I'm adverse to ink on it. So you can buy those like water soluble pens, or those pens or pencils that erase when you iron them and stuff like that. But I've seen that blog post that Mary Corbett put up on Needle and Thread about how the ink is still there. I mean, it's invisible. The water soluble ink, I don't know. Does that actually wash away or does it just disappear? But I know like the ironing one where the heat takes it away, it's still there. So she talks about how like you give something as a gift and then there's a chance that like the lines will come back, and oh my God. So I wanted to find a different transfer method that I would be comfortable with that didn't involve ink. Stay with me. I found something that I think is going to work. So the idea of like using a pencil and like a light box, that kind of freaked me out because then you got to wash the pencil off, and what if it doesn't come off and whatever. Or those pens kind of freak me out because they're kind of witchcraft magic. I don't know how they work. So here's what I decided on. I bought some Sulky paper solvy. This was on Amazon. You can buy it at 123stitch, but I knew Amazon would be faster, and it was on sale on Amazon.ca, like for me, the Canadian that I am. So this is water soluble stabilizer, and I'm sure you've all heard of it. Like, I'm sure I'm the last to this party, but I'm so excited to use it. So what it is you can, the way I'm going to use it, I know stabilizers are used for a lot of different things in like stitching and embroidery and quilting and everything like that, but what I'm going to use it for is as a base. So this is 12 sheets, and they're 8.5 by 11, so they go in your printer. So what you do is you print out your design, your embroidery design, on one of these, and it has a sticky back. Did I say that? Paper solvy? No. It has a sticky back. So you print off your design onto this paper, and then you peel off the back and you stick it to your fabric. And I don't know how well it sticks. Like, I've heard sometimes you have to put a couple stitches in to make sure it doesn't move around, but I don't care. So no ink is on your fabric. That's the first thing that I like about it. So you have this paper with your design on it stuck to your fabric. You stitch on it in the same way that you would do like a tracing paper transfer. So you stitch through it, and then when you're done, you put it in water and all of this dissolves away. Now, I don't know how well that works, and I am 100% going to film a video on it. The second I do my next embroidery, which might be like in a couple of days, I'm going to do it with this sticky paper on it, and then I'm going to film it dissolving away in the water, and we're going to see how well it does, because if this works, it just like is going to blow my mind. So, like I said, my issue wasn't putting it in water, although I do have I am a little bit hesitant about like the color fastness of stuff, but DMC is mostly okay, right? Is that correct? I know red and purple and stuff you have to be careful about, but like DMC is okay? I don't know. I'll research it. You guys tell me. Help me, please. So I'm putting that aside, the water part. I'm okay with that. The thing I didn't like was drying on my fabric in some way. So with this, the ink that comes out of your printer that your design is on never touches your fabric, which is such a relief for me. I don't know if anyone else has this weird like this weird complex about this ink on fabric thing, but I don't know, it just makes me think that the lines are gonna come back and I'm giving this as a present, and oh my god. So let me know if you've used this. Selkie Paper Solvy. I just think it would be amazing. This is the sticky kind, right? Yeah, it is. And it doesn't gum up your needle, apparently. Although I have heard some people have said that when you're stitching through this, your needle does get kind of funny because it is like an adhesive. But I've heard that you can just like wash it off or use Thread Heaven or whatever, and that helps. So yeah, I think this is amazing. Magically disappears in water. We'll see. I'm going to film a video about that. And we are all going to find out together. And if it works, which I hope it does, and I'm sure it does, I am going to use this for my embroidery that I'm going to be planning on giving away. And any embroidery in the future. And cost-wise, so this is 12 sheets. 12 like printer size sheets. I think I paid $9.35 for it, which may or may not be a lot to you, but like I said, if this works the way that I hope it's gonna work, it's dirt cheap. I will gladly pay that. So that is everything I have to talk about. I'm sorry I don't have more to say. One thing I should say is I think it is so cool how many subscribers everyone is getting. Like, I think it's Carolyn. I think you're the first floss tuber to get over 2,000 subscribers. I think. I don't know if that's right, but I think you are, and that's amazing. And I totally understand why, because everyone is putting out these awesome, like, so, like, cool, funny videos, instructional videos, WIP videos. I just think it's awesome. So, congratulations, everybody. Happy belated Canada Day. I'm a terrible Canadian to everyone that's in Canada. Happy Independence Day coming up if you're not. And happy week if you don't live in either of these places. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.